today across the southeast, and that is going to stretch all the way up to New York. The good news is that they'll be isolated to widely scattered, so if you get a storm, it's only going to last for about 45 minutes max as the heat builds into next week.
The FBI warning of a cyber criminal hacking group targeting airlines. It says the group, Scattered Spider, has been impersonating employees and using other scams to fool IT help desks, granting access to their systems. The FBI says the hackers target large corporations and their third-party IT providers. The Mexican government questioning whether SpaceX broke international laws after debris from recent failed launches turned up on the Mexican side of the U.S.
Hey, not that I want to throw this out there right now, but it's the E-Squared show today.
To the surrounding area, previous independent tests conducted on materials inside Starship, including toxicity analyses, confirmed that they pose no chemical, biological, or toxicological risks. Sources tell us that Mexican officials are collecting to do their own testing.
I didn't want it to be planned. I just wanted you to talk about it from within.
Bezos, journalist Lawrence Sanchez continues in Venice.
Now,
I'll says ABC's Maggie Rulli speaking with Venice Deputy Mayor.
I have at 12:25. Jake's jumping on.
How big are these protests?
I got my buddy Mike's coming on at 12:30, so we should be good.
Reading the newspaper.
So, hey, what, so you got Sweet Home Alabama?
The Senate's expected to meet in a few hours on that big budget bill. You're listening to ABC News.
Is it the Jelly Roll version?
An Akron woman is going to prison for the rest of her life.
39-year-old Christina Jacobson has been hit with life in prison without the possibility of parole for raping an infant child. Jacobson learned her fate Thursday in the Summit County Common Police Court. She was convicted last week of a number of charges, including rape and gross sexual imposition. Summit County Prosecutor Elliot Kolkovich said Jacobson abused an innocent child's vulnerability and inability to defend or advocate for herself. Kolkovich added, "There's simply no excuse for this abhorrent crime."
I'm bummed, though, you couldn't get
in a ruling Thursday that benefits customers, the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio issued a new order establishing lower distribution rates for customers of Enbridge Gas Ohio, most of whom are in northeastern Ohio. The Consumer Council of Ohio is the office standing up for customers. Their J.P. Blackwood says it's unusual that the PUCO not only denies a rate increase for Enbridge, but told them to cut rates.
The PUCO staff
I don't know that well.
Suggest that we should be lowering rates by more than $200 million.
I was working
the PUCO for a $210 million increase in rates on the charge of getting gas to customers, but they were given a requirement to cut rates by a total of $26 million. The PUCO told Enbridge that it also must continue replacing aging gas pipelines. And a heat record is broken in Clark County.
Hundreds of heat records broken across the United States during this week's extreme heat wave. The Federal Weather Prediction Center said Thursday over 280 locations spanning from Alaska to Florida broke daily heat records, including Springfield in Clark County, which hit an all-time high of 104 degrees. The heat wave is expected to continue today in parts of the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic. I'm Lee Mowen.
And I'm Andy Betts.
Your latest news, traffic, and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
This report is sponsored by Discount Drug Mart.
What do you think of when you hear Independence Day? Fireworks? I think of Discount Drug Mart. Hot dogs, juice boxes, ice, and more. Drug Mart saves you the runaround.
Discount Drug Mart is open Independence Day, July 4th till 9 p.m. for all your last-minute needs.
This is Winning Retirement Radio.
The market's going to go up and it's going to go down. It's a matter of when that's going to happen and what phase in life you're in when it happens.
We believe it's important to be efficient no matter what level you've saved.
Online at LegacyRetirementGroup.com.
At the Ohio Lottery, we make Keno fun. Your way. That means every few minutes across Ohio, 20 out of 80 possible numbers are randomly picked. And if some of the numbers you pick match, voila, you're a winner. Keno doesn't require you to know a single thing about sports skidball or overs, unders, pluses, minuses, or lines, or whatever else. Keno is as simple as, did some of my numbers match? They did? Great. You just raked in some dough. There are more than 20 hours of Keno draws every day and thousands of places to play statewide. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Being without hot water is an emergency.
That's why we guarantee to replace your water heater the same day you call us.
Call anytime before 5 p.m. and we'll get it installed that day.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Get Eco.com.
See an accident? Let us know at the Curtis & Associates Traffic Tip Line at 821-1111. Curtis & Associates. Trust and experience of attorneys who care.
Well, it is good to be back here in the cool. Behind the studio desk, unfortunately, I'm the only one who showed up today, so I'm not sure what you're going to get. I got no JC, I got no Chuck Douglas, no Paul, no Ed. No problem, because it's Ella and I. On Target is next.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon, welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along... Where is everyone? At least I got the studio audience. Hey! And I also... Ella, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Now, have you been preparing for the show as much as I have today?
Yeah, in the 30-second notice you gave me.
Huh? Well, I wanted your reactions to be natural. I didn't want it to be staged or, you have time to think about stuff. I just wanted, I wanted the true Ella, so that's what I was going for.
Man on the street. I'm ready.
There you go. Guys, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms and Range and are active in law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you facts about our industry and help customers and listeners with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. I want to start out by thanking Chuck for hosting last week. Chuck and the boys, I had an opportunity to listen in on it. A great conversation, if you missed it, with Brian Gantz, the CEO of Byrna. Really a neat product line, and I don't think they got to it last week, but one of the things I think is worth mentioning is Byrna isn't just some company that came out of nowhere making these Byrna launchers. They are well established within that less lethal community. Matter of fact, we have carried their Byrna shields. We sell them right here at the store. They are a level 3 ballistic shield that you can drop into a backpack, into a briefcase. We've shot them here. Stop by and check those out. And then also, and I don't think they mentioned this as well, but they also own Fox Labs. And for those who don't know, Fox Labs is probably the premier OC or mace that law enforcement carries. So these guys are legitimate, and if you're in the market for something less lethal like that, definitely check them out, whether it be from the mace side or the Byrna launcher side. Definitely worthwhile. Today on the show, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, I want your opinion. This is genuine. I was talking to some of the people in the listening audience today. When I found out that it was just going to be me today, I thought, I've been listening to some of our old openings and monologues, and these go back probably 5 or 6 years now, and there's some out there that are worthwhile, and they're worthwhile in showing what was going on at that time, whether it be during the riots or during different things that have happened in society. And so I was going to do kind of a best of the openings and just do 4 or 5 of them, talk through what was going on and stuff. If that's something that you think's worthwhile in the future, let us know. Either chime in on Facebook or YouTube, or send us an email, ontarget@lapd.com. Let me know if that's something we should put together for a future show, because I think it has value. The openings are kind of a passion of mine. It's nothing that I do every week, because sometimes there's just nothing to say. It always has to rise to the level of impacting me or law enforcement or the Second Amendment, that I think it's important at that time to write them. So I just want to get your opinions out there. Give us a shout. Let us know. Stop by the store and let us know that if it's worthwhile having that for a future show. Instead, today, got a couple of neat things coming up. We're going to start after some news. We're going to welcome Jake, our sales manager, on with us. Talk about some used firearms. We have a bunch of used firearms in stock right now due to some estate sales we were handling, due to police trade-ins. There is a lot of really neat things here. Some stuff we don't typically carry new. So if you typically don't come to LEPD for a Sporting Clays shotgun, we have some right now that are used that are really, really nice and neat. We're going to talk about that shortly when Jake comes on with us. What else? 12:30. You can't miss this. My good friend Mike Kent owns Rivers Edge Cutlery. Great people, great store. He's going to jump on with us, and actually a great sponsor for us too. He's going to jump on and talk about what they're doing over there in the knife market, trying to get some of their own knives out there on the market. It's going to be kind of neat, and then talk about some of the other things in his store. Really one of my favorite stores to go to, and it's one that he gets me every time. I go in, I leave the wallet in the car, but it never works because there's always something I walk out the door with. So 12:30, Mike Kent's going to jump on with us with that. We'd like to thank our sponsors, U.S. Law Shield. Just saw those guys this morning. Something of note as well in protecting yourself if you're carrying a firearm, U.S. Law Shield also protects you in any defensive scenario. So if you're carrying let's say a burner launcher, I know Ed brought it up last week. What happens if you are charged with brandishing that, or if there's some legal things that come down with having that? U.S. Law Shield will back you on that as well. It's not just about firearms, so something to consider, and a great partner of ours. Jackson Egress Windows. I had an opportunity this week to go out there and check out their website a little bit more in depth than I have for a while. It's really a neat product line. If you haven't gone out there, Jackson Egress Windows, that little window that we all have that goes to the basement that you can see outside, they do some amazing things with turning that into either a full-size window or to an exit out of the basement. It's really neat. They have a cool video. It's about 9 minutes long that goes through the whole process. Really worthwhile. And if you're in the market for that, those guys are definitely ones to consider. Black Wing Shooting Center, always a partner of ours up north. Got some good things coming up there too. And of course, Rivers Edge Cutlery going to be here with us later today, talking about some of their product line. Let's see. Today, no JC on the show. He's recovering from his son's wedding yesterday. Haven't heard back from him, so I'm assuming he's still in that recovery mode. Ed is actually out on his motorcycle today, riding, doing a poker run for the fallen officer of Morrow County. So good to have Ed back out there on the bike. So it's just really right now, it's just Ella and I. Ella, we can call it the E Squared show if that works for you.
It's your show. You're in charge.
I know. It's our show today, Let's see what else we have there. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. Ella does a great job getting it right out there on the podcast. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Podcasts, YouTube, really any place you get your shows. We're out there, and we're out there quick. So certainly go out there and check it out if you don't hear it live during the week. So let's talk about some news. No JC today, so I'm not going to probably do as good of a job as John, but there was some news out there that was worth hearing about this week. One, and this is kind of a little bit of unfortunate news, the Senate is starting to back down a little bit on the suppressor bill and the Short Act. The way this stuff goes, who knows, it could come back around, but it's a little bit disappointing to hear, especially on the suppressor part of that. There's really no reason that has to be tied up in the NFA and paying tax stamps, and that should just be an over-the-counter type of an item, as as firearms, where you can walk into a store. So we'll see how that shakes out, but that nonetheless was some news this week. The ATF, who is continuing under the new administration to kind of do away with some of the old policies that were just horrific, they announced this week a Biden policy, and this, a lot of people probably don't even know what this is. They reversed a prior ruling on something called simunitions, and simunitions are a training type round that is fired out of a normal firearm with a special barrel. So you have to get a different barrel to take this round, but then it's used in training, and it's a marker type round. So when you fire it and it hits your target, it leaves a little mark. So it's great for law enforcement training and first responder training because you can see, you have a visual of where that round went. Well, under the Biden administration, for some unknown reason, they made that round basically illegal for civilians to have, which makes no sense at all, but why make sense of some of these things? So because of that, a lot of these are imported, and what that did for us is because it couldn't go in the civilian hands, we couldn't carry them here in the store. We could order them for an agency, and it would go right to the agency, but we would never see it. And what that did is when agencies were in training and they needed a couple boxes or they needed 1,000 rounds real quick, we couldn't give it to them off the shelf because we weren't allowed to carry it. So that's stuff like that. There's just little things we're starting to see ease up. So another good thing coming out of the new administration here shortly. Let's say, speaking of new, and this one I'm not quite sure what the take's going to be, but Attorney General Bondi commented this week on a possible merger of the ATF and the DEA. I don't know about that. I'm not one of these, hey, the ATF needs to go away, but it certainly needs reforms to bring them back to their roots of going after the bad guys with guns or the bad stores. But I don't know if a merger with the DEA is the right thing on that. And one of her lines, which I really don't agree with, is, hey, guns and drugs, they kind of go together, so these two departments can go together. Well, I would argue guns and drugs, one is highly illegal and one is one of our constitutional rights here. So I don't know about that. More to come. Hopefully that shakes out. I think the NSSF is actually against it. So hopefully somewhere in the middle there, we at least get some further ATF changes that will go good going forward. Speaking of, and I know I called in this last week and mentioned this, but the Demand 2 program's gone. That was a great win for the gun stores and so forth. And what else? Big banks. Big banks this week are kind of blinking on their discrimination against the firearms industry. So now with some of these new things coming down, they claim they're going to start judging some of the applications on their merits and not let it influence them on what type of business that is, so such as a firearms business. It's good. Hopefully it's good for the industry, but I don't easily forget some of the things we experienced with them, and I'd never call for a boycott of these places, but for me, there ain't going to be no Huntington in my future. There's no Groupon, there's no NFL, and there's no Dick's, and so it's just from past experiences, it's not for me. People show their true colors, businesses show their true colors during the tough times. And these guys showed their true colors. So not for me, but it's good to hear that industry is coming back around. And what else? This one's going to stir the pot a little bit. So we did a story this week with Spectrum News. Good story. We were highly involved in getting these gun safes out, especially because of all the stuff that's going on with thefts out of a car. And the story was good, but it took a little bit of a different twist. And at the top of the story, it was a doctor with Ohio Health, and we partner with them for providing some of these safes that they hand out to some of these families. But the doctor, the whole mantra of it was, guns are the leading cause of death amongst our beloved children. And when you hear that, you think, wow, more than car accidents and guns? I mean, that's where we're at. And they went on to say, how can we live in a civilized society when guns are killing our kids? And that's a powerful statement. That's a big proclamation there. So, of course, we do like we always do. We kind of dug deep in it. And we addressed this before, probably about 6 months ago. But here's the rest of that story. Not to say that we're any less about giving away gun locks or gun boxes, but there's more to that story. The study he was referencing, I think it came out of Johns Hopkins, and it referenced the death rate amongst children ages 1 to 19. Now, when I look at that, I'm thinking, children, what, 19? I mean, I'm seeing these thugs that are running around the streets and stuff, they're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, but they're lumping those under the children category here. Now, according to the CDC, the death rate is measured in number of deaths per 100,000. That's their measurement. So just to give you a frame of reference, according to the CDC, the death rate of firearms, the death rate of children dying by firearms in the white community is 3.75 per 100,000. 3.75 per 100,000. The death rate of firearms amongst Asian kids is 2 per 100,000. The death rate amongst Hispanic kids, about 4 per 100,000. All of these categories that we mentioned, the leading cause of death in that age group for these ethnicities is car accidents. It's car accidents. It's been that way forever. Here's the rest of the story. The death rate by firearms amongst the black kids, since 2020, since everything has exploded, and it continues today, is 22 per 100,000. 22 per 100,000. It actually has gone so crazy that the deaths by guns in that community has, for over 2 decades now, firearms has been the leading cause of death. For 2 decades. This isn't new news. It has gone so bad that it has now brought up the average of all kids. All kids. The gun lock boxes are important, but putting these in your home, this isn't going to solve what we're seeing out there. It's the thugs stealing them from cars and stealing them. That's why we're a part of getting these gun lock boxes out. It's not about locking them in your home, although that's very important. But that's not what we're seeing in these communities. And until we recognize that, until the media recognizes that and say, look, we need to help these communities, we're not going to see any changes. And they can continue to say the leading cause of death among kids is firearms, which is totally misleading. So there you have it. There's the rest of that story. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk to Jake, our sales manager here, talk about some of the used firearms that we have out here on the table and much, much more in the cases. We're on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
Info on the go with
Jakester. All right, you got the clock there, Jake. We got till 12:30. I hope you're rehearsed. You don't have any notes? Oh, man. All right, can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you hear Ella?
No.
I don't hear her either. If that volume's too loud, tell me and I can turn it down here. It's usually the old guys. It's the old guys who can't hear. How's that?
That's better.
All right. What did you guys think of those stats? It is that from 4 per 100,000 to 22. It's unbelievable. It is, and the gap keeps widening.
You watch the news, no, it's not surprising at all.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense with what you see. And calling how long?
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay. And calling kids until 19.
Seconds.
I'll be waiting. Now, Ella, I would like you to chime in on some of these guns. You know, put your opinion in, what you want, that type of thing.
Okay. 10 seconds.
All right, I'm ready. Your ABC 6 first warning weather for today. Sun and clouds, isolated thunderstorms in the evening, high of 88. Tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, low of 70. For tomorrow, Sunday, sun and clouds, stray pop-up storms are likely, high of 91. Currently 88 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
News, traffic, weather, sports. Columbus's News Radio 610 WTVN.
I only pray when I ain't got a prayer.
So who the hell am I? Who the hell am I to expect a savior? Oh, if I only talk to God when I need a favor. God, I need a favor.
Ella, we're playing country now?
But I ain't been living them words.
You know, if people could hear what you put me through, you tell me to do something off the air and then I do it, and you bust my balls on the air.
I know it. No, you know what? The Jelly Roll, if you don't know who that is, I really didn't know who that was. Do you listen to that, Jake?
Not really.
Not really? Ella, do you listen to Jelly Roll?
I don't know why I turned on Jelly Roll's mic instead of mine. Yeah, a little bit.
You know what? I worked at Buckeye Music Fest last week, and I like country. I don't really know it, and but when he got, you can tell like a true entertainer. And when he got up on stage, I guess he has roots in Columbus. I mean, he rattled off all these small venues he played in Columbus, and Grove City, and Scully's, and Newport, and it was very emotional about playing at Ohio Stadium. And you could tell, I mean, a true entertainer, just the way he talked between songs. And at one point, there was someone in the audience that had a sign up that said they were clean for so long, and I guess that's one of his big things. And he totally went off and did a song they weren't planning on playing. I mean, really, I grew a better appreciation for him.
Cool.
Are you talking to me?
No, I was just talking out there, you know. No,
that's what I thought, but that was a lot of silence.
Yeah, a lot of so it was good though. It was definitely good. But hey, maybe we'll have to start incorporating some of that new music into our repertoire. All right, Jake. Yep. We have a lot of used firearms right now.
Tons.
Tons. We have people coming in all the time wanting to sell firearms, on trades and so forth. And we also do quite a few estate sales where we get a bunch at a time, and we just happen to be one of those periods where we have a lot from a lot of different places, some police trades and stuff. So I thought today for a couple minutes we'd go through some of these things we have, because a lot of it is stuff that you might not necessarily think, oh, I'm not going to go to LEPD for a trap and skeet gun. We have a couple now that are worth coming here to check out, or a long range rifle might not be your first choice to come here for, but it's definitely something you need to come check out. So I'll rattle off a couple of these. Jake, you tell me a little bit about them and why someone needs to come in here and take a look at them.
Sure.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
From an undisclosed list you don't know. Benelli M3.
So it's an older Benelli M3 Super 90. So it's basically a convertible shotgun, so you can switch it really simply, actually, between either pump action or semi-auto. And it's a Benelli, so obviously it's super
good
high quality.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a product improved Spaz 12.
Right.
Is kind of what it is.
Yep, and it looks like it's in excellent condition.
Yeah, great shape.
We were talking about sporting clay guns. What's the one you bring up here?
So I've got
Beretta.
A few.
Yep.
So the one that is up here right now, it's a Beretta A400 Explorer in 20 gauge. Really nice. I believe it's a 28-inch vent rib with fiber optic sight up front. Real nice finish, nice wood. It's got a enhanced recoil pad on there as well. So I've got that guy that we have up here, and then I've also got two other nice Italian sporting clay guns. I've got another Beretta in 12 gauge, and then I've got a Franchi 12 gauge as well.
Wow!
So you have to come in to check those ones out because they're not up here.
They're not up here, and those are something. I mean, we don't typically carry this line. We can get stuff if people are looking for it, but it's not something you would typically walk into LEPD and see new on the shelf. But again, on the used side of things, there's a pretty good selection of them there. Kind of jumping around a little bit on the Berettas, we got a Beretta 70S that walked in the other day. Something you might not recognize by number, but it's a little bit unique in that this one's in a 22 caliber.
Yeah, 22 caliber, kind of old school Beretta semi-auto, nice little gun. Great for a collector too.
Yeah.
Being kind of a little bit more of a unique thing.
Yeah, and speaking of collector too, Colt Single Action Army. That came in a couple weeks ago now. Really in good shape. Got a couple little things with it, but definitely one that you wouldn't worry about shooting. But to walk in and see an old Colt single action Army on the shelf.
If you wanted a single action Army for a shooter, that one is going to be a great option. It's got the black grips, color case frame on there, and it's in 45 long Colt with a 5.5-inch barrel. So.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of collector or one that you probably could shoot too, this week we got in, and this isn't super rare, but we don't see it every day. 2 Glocks, 119, 123, I believe, in the original. They're Gen 2s in the original Tupperware containers, which is kind of neat to see. I mean, when you don't see those every day. The 19 looks new with all the things that would have come with at the time, but also the 23.
Yeah, absolutely. They're cool older Glocks. If you're into some of the features of the modern ones, like, obviously you're not going to get an optic cut on something that old. You're not going to get, on the Gen 2s, they don't have the accessory rail yet, so you can't put a light on there or whatever. But they're just cool.
They're a cool factor, and we're not talking money on stuff.
No.
Hey, as a side, I got a message. Paul says, put the Colt single action Army back for him, but you're going to have to really discount it, he says. So, Jake, you're going to have to use your discretion on that. Guys, let's jump to the other news. We'll come back on the other side and talk about more about used firearms. A couple of little new things coming on at LEPD here too shortly, and then we're going to get to my friend over Rivers Edge Cutlery. We're on Target broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms Range. We'll be back right after the news.
Are you like millions of Americans who avoided filing their taxes?
All right, put that on there. We'll see if you hear yourself.
Hello, hello.
Yep. Is it too loud? Not loud enough?
No, I think it's good.
All right. A lot of the old guys put them on. They can't hear, so they're cranked up.
I'm one of them.
So when we come back, we'll talk about a little bit more about the couple of new things, used guns, couple of new things we're doing, and then we'll go to an early break. Then when we come back, we can run. Yep. Since when you drink water, not that crap stuff.
Got hydrate, man.
Mm-hmm.
You need a knife to open that?
I can't believe you brought these for us, Jake. I mean,
that's super nice.
Are you selling this, Mike? No.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. We made just under 100 of them, and we brought them to a show, and then whatever we didn't sell at the show, we brought back to the store. So we've got maybe 16 left, I think, out of the close to 100.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty neat.
They're making knives now, Jake.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Jakey, when we go back, definitely hit the 308. I'm going to hit about the Koas, the aim point stuff, any other used stuff you can think of off the top of your head that's worth.
Nothing really super crazy, I don't think.
A lot of the normal stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
a lot of used guns. But
yeah, a lot of used normal. The new Bodyguard 2.0. Oh, my knife it didn't look like that. That's not the one you sold me.
Not the one. Check that out. Push the button, and then you push that button out there. Just.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Neat.
Wow.
Is it like a Halo clone?
Well, it's Heretic, which is Marfione's son's company.
Okay.
So, but same as the Halo. Yep.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah. I've not.
I always wanted a Halo, and I can never find one anywhere.
Yeah, they'll make them for a few months, and then 2 years go by, and you can't find one. Then all of a sudden they'll make them again. Yeah.
Ten seconds.
10 seconds.
range and training facility. This is OnTarget, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric. Joined today in the LEPD studios, Ella is back moving all the levers, keeping everything going. Got to my right, our sales manager, Jake. We're talking about used guns. And actually, Mike, my good friend from Rivers Edge, just stepped up too. Good to see you.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, always good to see you here. We're going to get to some of your toys in front of you there here in a second.
Sounds great.
So, Jake, we're talking about used firearms, some of the stuff that's available right here in the store. Kind of off air, we talked, we only have a few up here on the counter. There is a ton of used, what I would call normal firearm. I looked out there today. I saw a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, which is the hot ticket right now, used but never fired. I mean, there's that quality that sits over there.
Yeah, we got a ton of stuff in right now that's like, normal stuff that we carry, but got used versions of it right now, so you can pick it up at a, a really good price if you're looking for something, your average guns that we would normally carry. Then the last one that we have up here was a really nice Remington 700. Got the fluted varmint barrel on there, chamber 308, 20-inch barrel on that. Comes with a bipod and a Vortex Viper 6-24 on there.
Oh, so wow.
Pretty nice kind of out-of-the-box setup if you wanted to just, come and grab something so you can shoot a little long range and stuff like that. It's really nice.
In a lot of these, Jake, I mean, you yourself and myself are one of the ones who really look at the guns when they come in. Most of the stuff we have is in really, really good condition. I mean, we scrutinize stuff. I mean, if something that comes in the door and we know it's not in good condition. Of course, we check them out with the gunsmith and so forth. A lot of times we don't take them in. So, in and of itself, the vast majority of the ones we have are really good condition. Many with the original boxes and so forth.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't shoot their guns as much as you might think. So, when we get stuff, a lot of times it's practically brand new.
Right. People just want to change or try something else out. On the new front, two big news things this week at LEPD. One, we are an official Aimpoint distributor now, which allows us to offer the LE discount and then also have a wide variety of Aimpoints in stock. Not here at the moment, but some of them en route. We can get really any of the ones out there.
Yep, got the first batch kind of on the way. Obviously we already have some of the Acros in stock, but we got some of the rifle optics on the way. It's gonna be good stuff. You can get some high-end optics in here.
Yeah, and they're good company. And it's funny because we were complaining a little bit about the process to become a dealer. It wasn't easy. At one point, I got an email that said Sweden is reviewing your application. I'm like, wow. But we did. We went through all the stages and process, so it's a good thing, and it allows us to be nimble in that space a little bit and bid them out to agencies, and then also provide it here locally for law enforcement and anyone who walks in the door. So.
Yep. And they were having some trouble making enough optics to, kind of fulfill the orders for Glock, but we just got some of the Glock 19 Koas back in stock,
which we never see. It has been a difficult task getting any of the Koas, so these have the Aimpoint already mounted on them. It's been difficult getting those in stock. We have 5 or 6 right now of the 19s, if they're still here.
It's going to be a hot ticket.
They are. It is definitely, if you're in the market for a Glock 19 or something that size, and you've been considering an optic, and it's actually a decent deal, too, versus if you were to buy them separately.
Yeah, the deal versus buying it separately, you save a couple $100 at least, Yeah, it's a great deal.
Yep, so definitely stop by and check us out. We have the police trade still. We have Smith & Wesson 45s that are on police trades. We have some 40s coming from Smith & Wesson and from Shield 40s. Those are going to be en route soon. There's a lot here right now. So if you just want to stop by and browse, something will certainly catch your eye, or ask the guys to check out anything, because we can certainly help in that regards. Anything else out there, Jake? Do we go through a few of the 100 that we have here?
I think we covered the The standouts.
The standouts. There you go. Guys, we're going to jump to an early break because on the other side, we're going to get to my good friend Mike Kent of Rivers Edge Cutlery. Going to check in with them, see how things are going, talk about their beautiful building over there and some of the knives they're making now. So let's jump to the break. We are on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms Range, and we'll be back right after the break.
Keeping you informed.
You going to be a part of it, or what are you doing? You got to go back there and do your... You like knives?
Yeah, I do like knives, yeah.
You probably know more about knives than me.
Yeah, I knew the halo and everything. That's pretty neat.
I got a knife. I think I bought it from you.
10 years ago.
Yes? Why, do you buy it more often than that?
Nothing wrong with that.
I bought that.
Yep, yeah. No, this is an old one. You just don't see these anymore.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Just don't.
It cuts a mean box.
Heck yeah.
Haven't used the...
30 seconds.
All right. Haven't used the window punch yet.
Should go put it to use. Go find
I know.
a junk car or something to see if it works.
I know.
That'd be fun.
Although, you know what we have now, or they're coming, are those little cheapy automatic things you just put up against it and you hit the button.
Yeah.
I forget the name of them, but they boop.
Yep.
All right, 30 seconds here. Here we go.
5 seconds, 3 seconds.
Here, ABC6 first warning weather for today. Sun and clouds, isolated storms possibly later in the evening, high of 88. Tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, low of 70. For Sunday, sun and clouds, stray pop-up storms are likely, high of 91. Still going to be hot out there. It is currently 89 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610, WTVN.
Columbus's News Radio, 610 WTVN.
I don't think that's Jelly Roll.
Well, he's such a big fan.
I do. I go week to week. Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studio. I got Jake to my right. Ella is working the board back at the station. And to my left is my good friend, Mike. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks. Appreciate you.
Always good to see you. So glad you were able to make it in today. It makes so much of a difference to be here in person and talk about this and touch and feel some of the things that you brought in for us today. For those of you who don't know, Mike and your brother, right?
Yep.
The owners of Rivers Edge Cutlery. Tell us a little bit about how you got there. You didn't just wake up one day and have a big, beautiful building and open up a knife company.
Right. No, this has been 21 years now in the works. Started out just in a small strip mall and just selling knives, selling as many as we could. Internet was just starting, so we really didn't have an internet presence in the beginning and basically just sold to walk-in customers, which was tough. We had a rough road in the beginning. We're like, we have to get online. And finally we did, and that also you start out small and grew from there. And yeah, it grew from there. And once I was able to afford it, my goal was to always have a building. Always wanted to buy a building. And I also love to be in the shop making things. So we decided to buy a building and start making knives. And so we still have the retail. We could walk in, buy knives from all different brands. And in the back, we have all of our machinery, and we make our own line of knives now.
Most people aspire to, to buy a little building, a little. Yeah. Your building is beautiful. It's the old Bobby Rahal building, right?
It is. Pretty proud of that.
It's gorgeous.
That's awesome.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
So, it shows very, very well. Nice. And I'm proud of you guys. I think was your original store right there on Sawmill 161?
It was.
Yeah, I remember stopping in there in the day.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yep. We were there 4 years. That was 21 years ago we opened up over there.
Was it really?
Yeah, 22 years in August. So,
I probably carry around equipment from there still.
That's awesome.
So good. So now you're in the big building, and now you're delving into the making of knives.
Manufacturing. Our guys do. We hired a few people with good skills that have been doing it for 30 years, and we make our own knives because I'd be sitting there by hand. You'd probably take 4 or 5 days to make one knife. Now with the machines, we could pump them out, which is really nice. And everything is so down to literally the thousandths of an inch is where we're getting everything down to. So I'm not going to say perfect, but they're as close as perfect as we can get them. And coming out really nice.
That's good. And what's the brand name that you're putting that is under?
So that's going to be Hellbender Blade Co. And if you're not familiar with a Hellbender, it's actually like a giant salamander, and they are in Ohio.
Oh, really?
here. Yeah, a lot of the species are endangered. They're very susceptible to if the water is not in the best conditions, they don't make it. That's how a lot of the people go in and they test these waters, and if they notice the hellbender was there, and 2 years later there's no hellbenders, well, you got a problem with water. That's a
really,
yeah, it's a sure that something wrong.
That's good. And you recently brought these to some of the big knife shows, right? So you have had good luck. Now the word's starting to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to get them in front of. So making the knives and doing so long, I've known a lot of other knife retailers. So yes, they're competition, but we're friends. It's kind of like you and I are. So we overlap a bit, but it's okay. Our dealer friends are going to take our line in, which helps us out tremendously. So right away, I could get them into. I was going to start small, get them into one dealer, and hopefully grow a dealer network here next couple of years.
Wow, that's great. Jake, you're in the knife. You kind of have a fancy for knives.
I like knives.
Yeah, you like knives and stuff. I have a I showed you. I showed you.
It's a great little knife.
Yeah. Yep. I think I got it from you guys. So I mean, obviously, your line of your own knives is wonderful, and it's a segment of what you sell.
Right.
You sell a lot of knives there.
Yes.
Talk about those who kind of like myself who aren't in that realm. What differentiates a good knife from a great knife from a cheap knife?
So going back to where I was talking about the tolerances. Cheap knife, it's going to have blade plates, the lockup's not going to be good, and it could be a dangerous knife, especially law enforcement, or if you're depending on this knife for whatever reason and it fails, obviously you can either get hurt or lose something that you're trying to cut away, or it's a big deal to have tight tolerances and good quality. So you buy a $20 knife, you get $20 worth of knife. That's what's important. The materials they use also is a huge difference in pricing, because you could have steel that costs you 89 cents to cut out a blade, or $23 to cut out a blade. So there's a big difference in price just in the raw materials alone.
So do most people come in and purchase a knife that they're going to carry and use, or is it, wow, that is super cool, that's a nice knife, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to sit it at home?
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
that's funny. Earlier you were talking about the guns, how people they'll buy them and maybe never shoot them, maybe shoot them once and then they go in the safe. Same thing in the knife world. People buy them because they like them. They go in the safe, and we call them the safe queens. They come out to look at them. They might fire them a couple times, in and out or something. And 2 years later, they're back in our store. Hey, I want to sell this. And,
really?
So we have a lot of consignment in there because of that.
Do they hold values, or how? I mean,
so some do, depending on the maker, the manufacturer, the rarity. Because sometimes there'll be manufacturers even that'll make a set of 200 of these. And 10 years later, people still want those, but they made them 10 years ago. So now you paid $500 for it. Well, now you can get $2,000 for it.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of collectability in some of the knives. Just off the shelf knife, typically not. You're gonna lose money as soon as you buy it, just like a car,
So what's the trade-in value for this one? It's been in.
I give you $10.
$10. All right.
That's a pretty good deal.
That's a good knife. That was a good knife. I think I paid $80 for it, or $100.
That's at least, yeah.
Okay.
That's a good knife.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't let me pay full price for it. One of the things when I come to your store too, there's a whole market of, I call them like first responder-y type things. Not necessarily a knife, but things that have seatbelt cutters and window punches and stuff like that. Talk about that market. I mean, is that something you sell quite a few of?
We do. We have a big law enforcement that do come in, especially the Hilliard guys over there. They're always in. But yeah, we sell a good amount of it, because when someone's buying a knife, it kind of goes hand in hand to have a good, whether it's a window punch or like those scissors right there. Yeah. They're good quality ones. They're not the 99-cent ones you can buy anywhere. So they're going to hold up for you. They're going to have multiple features, good carry options. So to me, you spend, I don't know, what are they, $79 or something like that. If you take care of them, you're going to have them the rest of your life. They're not going to break on you. And yeah, it's a good quality unit right there.
And that's what last time I was in your store, I bought these and stuff. Yep. What was the brand? Oh, Leatherman. Yeah, and they were, people, why do you need a $100 pair of knife? Well, this one also has a seatbelt cutter and a window punch.
Yep.
But on the streets, and there is certainly applications for having a scissor like that. I had a couple of times I could have used it out there in the field. I'm hacking away with a knife when I could have used that. Right. The other thing, that will cut a penny in half. To have in your back pocket, you always know you can cut a penny in half. That's worth having and stuff. But yeah, it's super cool, super sharp, and certainly something we could all have, and just to have in the car for.
Exactly, and the way they fold down and they're so compact and easy to carry, I think that's what's really good about them too.
Talk about automatic knives. For the longest time in Ohio, they were kind of iffy on could you own them, could you not. You could buy them, but you couldn't possess them. I mean, there's some goofiness there. How does that nowadays?
Now it's great. There was a bill passed that they're legal to carry now, and whether it's an out the front or out the side, you're allowed to carry it in Ohio, which I think is a great thing. Our automatic knives, really went up in sales for that reason. So,
you I've always found, and Jake, you have a couple auto knives, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I almost exclusively carry autos.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I always, and probably I was probably buying cheap stuff, but I was always worried about it opening up in my pocket, and I would stick my hand in. Oh man, the blade's open.
Right.
Talk about what do you look for? I mean, you have to spend a little bit to get one that's works and that's good.
Absolutely. Yeah, the spring quality is very important. You don't want that thing failing again, especially if you're in a situation where you need that knife deployed really quickly. Something like this, I'll show you guys. There's a button to deploy this one. Push it over, so it's actually covered like that. So there's different ways. I'll show you that, Jay. I think it's pretty neat. If you go with something like an out the front, where a lot of people come in, they'll grab it like a Microtech brand or a Heretic, and they go to push it up like, oh, this is really stiff. Well, by design, it's stiff, so it doesn't accidentally deploy in your pocket. Stuff like the one I'm carrying. If you notice, the buttons are recessed a little bit, so you don't accidentally. There's little things like that you can look for. Some Benchmades are big ones where they'll actually have a safety on it.
Okay.
Not all of them do, but some do.
Okay.
So you have to, take the safety off, then you can deploy it.
Good. And you guys have a good selection of the autos now and stuff.
Absolutely.
Good. You also are big, and a lot of times people don't think about this, like kitchen knives and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought our set there. I bought them for gifts from you guys. Talk about the kitchen knife world.
Yeah, we definitely sell a lot of them, mostly through the holidays, but we all the time get people and they just want a good kitchen knife. I brought these in just to show you guys. They're Benchmade, and it's their kitchen line.
Benchmade.
Yeah, so they're really nice, all American made. There's many different, a lot of them from Germany, and you got to be careful. If you go like Wusthof, Henkel's, those are the German brands. But with Henkel's, they also have an international line where it could be China and stuff like that. Not a lot wrong with them, but they will not hold up like the German line.
Okay.
The edge retention, the handles, just everything about them. The balance is not going to be there the same. It's just the German lines you just got to watch where you're buying them from and what you're buying. And then, of course, in our store, we've all that knowledge, and we're going to share all that knowledge with you. How to pick it out. The comfort of them is very important. Different shapes for different applications, basically. So and you could buy individuals, you could buy sets, and then of course we do lifetime free sharpening on them when you do buy them.
And it's crazy, and this is going to sound like a statement of the obvious, but when we bought the knife set from you a couple years ago, oh my God, it completely changes. I mean, I didn't know how much I was sitting there trying to saw through an apple. Exactly. I mean, it completely changes it, and we bring them over to sharpen occasionally, and definitely worth the while.
Yeah, having the right knife for the job, number one, makes it a lot easier. But most people don't understand that their knives are going dull every time they use it, and 2 years go by, 3 years go by, and heck, we have people. I got this when I was married 20 years ago, never had them sharpened. There's a big difference, and then they get them sharpened, and then they come in all cut up, and look what you guys did to me. And of course, it's all in fun, but there's a big difference in a sharp knife. I don't care if it's a $5 knife or a $500 knife. That $5 knife is dull, or the $500 knife is dull. They're not going to cut, no matter how good the knife is. Keep your knives nice and sharp.
Well, and for us, once I told the kids to stop using the good knives to open packages, clean the mud out of their shoes, that was also an impact.
Yeah, and keep them out of the dishwasher too.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely on that. You sell other stuff too. I mean, that's what gets me every time I come in there. I mean, just in the bag. I think the last time I was in there, I bought a bag. But you guys have a lot of neat things like that.
We do, and a lot of the brands that we carry, more boutique style brands, that you're not going to see them in your big box stores or anything. That's why we kind of separate ourselves from them. Where for most of the brands we carry, we know the owners or the whole crew. We know the people that make them. For us, it helps just enjoy the product, and you could tell when you're buying something from somebody that they enjoy the product, that we're excited about it. That bag that you bought, we know how it was made. We know the guys that are selling it to us, and it's one of those things that we use them. Everything in our store, somebody in our stores uses almost everything we have in our store.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about that. I mean, a lot of those bags, it's not stuff you're going on Amazon to buy.
Right.
And you can appreciate the quality of it. I mean, I know, Jake, you're into the bag and all that good stuff too. I mean, it's definitely a higher quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they carry a lot of brands over there that I'm a big fan of. So, I mean,
maybe for Christmas this year, a gift card to Rivers Edge.
There you go. Now you're talking.
That'd be great. There you go. Well, really, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being a sponsor of the show for a long time.
Of course.
And we really encourage people, if you haven't been over there, you got. I'm kind of envious. If you haven't picked up on. I'm envious of your store. It's beautiful. I mean, it is. It's truly gorgeous and really worthwhile. And I think you guys do events there too.
We do.
Yeah. Yep. So people can come and rent them out. One more time on the address or where you're located.
Sure, it's 4601 Lyman Drive, and it's over in Hilliard. And if you're familiar with that area right off of 270 there, Scioto Valley is right next door to us, and that's a big store. They carry pools and spas and bars and all that kind of stuff. So that's the landmark we always use. But we're right there. We face 270 Lyman Drive in Hilliard.
Yeah, and I will admit, and I'm not proud to admit, I was at Scioto Valley recently, and I didn't stop by. You happened to be closed. I tried to get the wife to go when I knew you were going to be open too, and she's like, "Why are we going this time? We can go right now." Not now. Yeah, so I didn't get to. We drove by, but that was it.
That's okay.
I was going to use my key, but I didn't want to. So no, we really appreciate you stopping by, and definitely check that out. And thanks for being a partner and a friend for all these years, and certainly keep in touch. We're looking forward to your line, and maybe we do an LEPD version or something at some point.
I'd love it.
So I mean, maybe like a $25 version. Is that
no? Not by us anyway.
Okay.
You have to go to China for that.
Guys, that is about it for the show. You got to stop by and check out the used gun. We got a lot of stuff in inventory right now. It's just one of those times where the ebb and flows are such where we have a lot of good inventory, a lot of stuff we're excited about. Stop by, check it out. Jake, we're still doing a ton of suppressors. Getting those back within a lot of times 24 48 hours.
A couple days.
I mean, no other time has it been that quick. So you stop by on a Tuesday, and a good chance on Friday you'll have that in your possession. So definitely stop by and check that out. We have some here. We have access to a ton more, and it goes the same with short barrel rifles as well. We can turn those around super quick. I think we still have some Daniels.
Yeah. Well, the Daniel SBRs we are out of.
Okay.
We just sort of last one of those, or the gentleman just picked it up yesterday, actually, from its approval. So, and the Form 4s on the SBRs, SBS is, well, we don't have any SBSs right now, but all those Form 4s, it's all the same turnaround time, so you don't have to worry about that.
And I think I told you, I think we're getting some FN SBRs coming in shortly too. So, yes, definitely stop by if that's something you've been considering. Not a bad time to do it, because the turnaround is so quick. You're not like you're paying now and picking it up a year from now. So, guys, thanks for spending the time with us. Thanks, Jake. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to Ella for pulling all the levers back there at the station. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about the firearms that our forefathers used. I mean, it's 4th of July weekend. We got to talk about that, right? So have a safe holiday going forward. Be careful if you're out there amongst all the crowds downtown. And as always, guys, let's be careful out there.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Save 610 WTVN Columbus on your presets. Free. Never sounded so good.
Oh, and before I forget, the AC needs to be tuned up before summer.
Sure. Let me get the manual out. Turn to page 983, index.
What are you doing?
Tune up.
What are you doing?
You said I needed to tune up the air conditioner.
I didn't say...
Got my infrared temperature gun.
Stop.
Fin tone.
Stop.
My manifold gauge set and multimeter.
Stop. Why do you even have those things? We get our AC tuned up by Apex Pros. The pros who knows.
But I bought all this expensive equipment so we can save money.
Summer tune-ups at Apex Pros are just $29. How much did all that cost?
$29 zillion.
All right.
What was that
Just
second
go to
song?
apexpros.com and schedule a $29 AC tune-up. It prevents breakdowns, makes our system last longer, and lowers energy bills. Or do something useful like making some lemonade.
Sure. First, I plant a lemon tree.
Stop.
Put seeds in the pot.
Cool. Hey, are you going to be here next week for the 4th of July weekend?
It's Alex, the friendly
You never get a break.
$29 to get an AC tune-up. Schedule now at
All right. We got to stop by and shoot sometime.
You're great at
all right, I still got you on my list when I work the streets
You
next.
might even use things like two-factor
all right, you ready for the commercial?
And strong passwords, but as much as you try to control how your info's protected, there are other
This is it from OnTarget. This week we talk about the firearms of our forefathers, and the Gun of the Week is sponsored by Jackson Egress Windows. Tune in right here Saturday at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
They'll fix it, guaranteed. or
Tune in tomorrow at noon or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Play as the promo code at LifeLock.com.
Tune in today at